Hey, so I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about what I just did for the past 4 or 5 days, because I've kind of been off the radar a bit. As a lot of you probably know, I flew into Germany just a few days ago, and since then I've been doing a lot of crazy stuff. But I thought I'd let you guys know kind of like what happened when I went on my flights and all the kinds of interesting things that I've done over the weekend too. On Thursday the 15th, I flew out of the Minneapolis Airport into Chicago. Now, I don't have any footage of me in the Minneapolis airport, but it would have just consisted of me sitting in a chair waiting to board the plane anyway, so don't worry. Once I got off the plane, there was a staff member at the airport telling me that I needed to get from one point in the airport to another so I could take a bus over to another part of the airport so I could get onto my plane. What she didn't tell me was that I would be here and the place I needed to get to would be over here. Once I got to where I was supposed to be to take a bus, I found out that I wasn't actually going to be taking like a normal bus. Apparently I was going to be taking like a special access bus. So I got to go through this really unique part of the airport that most people probably don't get to see. And of course, once we actually got into the airport building, the guy who was leading us through informed us that
what the heck's going on? It's not open.
it's always comforting. So then he told us,
okay, we gotta go this way. It's not open this way.
Okay.
but it wasn't too bad. I mean, I got to go through a really awesome door that looked just like this one. So then I made my way to my flight, I got on the plane, and set off to Europe. On the way, they gave us this really awesome meal. It was actually my first meal I've ever had on an airplane before. It's pretty good. Got to London Heathrow, had to run through this giant got on another airplane, had a sandwich, flew to Stuttgart, got to the passport place, but I couldn't go in that line because apparently it was only for burger citizens. After I got into Stuttgart, I waited at the airport for my friend. She picked me up and we went back to her house where I could drop off my luggage. And we went to the grocery store to get lunch. After lunch we went to her school and she showed me around her school. German schools are really cool. Apparently they do 5th grade all the way through 12th grade for high school. But you didn't know that, unless you're from Germany, in which course you probably knew that. After we went to school, we took the train into Stuttgart, and we went around and looked at some castles, and looked at some other castles, and old buildings. After we were in Stuttgart, we went up to look at this castle called Castle Solitude, but I didn't actually get any video footage up there because it was kind of dark once we got there. But don't worry, we went there the next day afterwards, so I got some footage then, and you'll see that later. After we left the castle, we went and took care of Leo's horse. And I got to see what a German horse pasture looks like. It's actually quite interesting.
Yeah, it's that you're not allowed.
After that, we went home. The next day, we took a really windy road back up to that castle that I talked about before, and I actually got to take some cool pictures, and then we looked at the little church that's right by the castle. After we finished looking at the castle, we went to a place overlooking Stuttgart where we could get some ice cream and get apparently the greatest view of Stuttgart there is. Once we were finished with our ice cream, we went to my friend's sister's work where apparently there was a German band having a CD release concert. Now I have to admit, I'd never been to a German concert before, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. But honestly, they weren't very good. Here's a little snippet of what we actually saw. Now maybe it's just because heavy metal is not my style of music, but I didn't really like them that much, and neither did Leo. So, after about 20 minutes, we headed home. The next day, we got to go to this really awesome place, which is called the Rittersport Museum. Basically, it's a part chocolate museum, part art museum. The first portion we went to was the actual chocolate museum. Now, I didn't actually get any footage from there because, well, I was so enthralled by the whole thing I didn't really even think about it. It was basically just a little exhibit explaining how they make chocolate and where they get their ingredients and everything, and I gotta say, probably it was one of the coolest things I've seen so far. After we went through the actual museum, we went into the chocolate store, which was almost as big as the museum itself, and looked at all the chocolate. They had huge sections of bulk chocolate and sections of gourmet chocolate. Now I know you're probably going to be a little bit jealous, but I actually convinced my friend to buy me 4 pounds of German chocolate. And after we visited the chocolate store, we went into the art gallery, I guess you could call it, where we saw paintings much like this one, which don't really make any sense. Yeah, I don't know either. German art, I guess it's just something else. After visiting the art gallery, we stopped by the cafe where I actually got my first ever German pretzel and German hot chocolate. I must say it was very good, probably the best pretzel I've ever had, which is to be expected considering that the pretzel was invented in that very area. And just in case you're wondering, here's a picture of it. Later that day, we visited an even bigger castle than the one we visited before, which is funny because this one's actually nicknamed the Mini Versailles. The castle had beautiful gardens and amazing grounds. Trees of all kinds everywhere. And even lots of naked statues. After leaving the castle, we went home, had dinner, and here I am now. So yeah, that was my weekend in Germany. I hope you enjoyed it, and I am excited to tell you about my adventures in Switzerland when I go there tomorrow. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!